All right, so I took a look at this, Abdullah. This is very different than what we're doing with F45. They're basically only three different classes on multiple times. Some happen at the same time. I get what you're saying, and then relatively small class sizes. If you want to allow them to book on high level, I would recommend maybe a calendar for each one, and you can sync each calendar separately. So you could have a force calendar, a strike. Looks like you might have four: strike, high intensity, and a fire bar class. That totally works. The only thing is you will have to go into every trigger that is based on a calendar and make sure there's a trigger for each calendar. Just replicate whatever you have. So if it's a trigger and a status, whatever the filters are, one of the filters will be a calendar. Make sure there is a version for each of your calendars. If you do that, it'll work. And then you can set up each calendar with the correct capacity, like 8 here, 12 here, 24 here, whatever. Or if it changes throughout the week. I can't remember if we said you want to go with the lowest or the highest, whatever makes sense for you. Um, and then the alternative would be if you want to just do a single calendar, just make sure it's and they do most of their booking through MindBody. You would just need to make sure the capacity is big enough to handle whatever combination. Like in this time slot, there's 8 plus 12, so you need to handle at least 20. But this class, you have to handle at least 24 anyway. So you would want to set it pretty broadly on the syncing calendar, the class calendar. And then we had talked about you having a class calendar and then a trial calendar. The tricky thing is for the trial calendar, do you want them to be able to choose what kind of class they're signing up for or not? If you don't care, then you could just do a trial calendar that's configured for a small number and it might max out sooner than it's actually full. But like you'd have to go set it for 8. And so if it's the 24 class, it might look full way sooner, but then they could choose a different one, I suppose. So these are your options. This is just basic high level constraints and high level automation, but that's how it would interact with our integration. So you can either configure multiple calendars to be syncing with MB Sync, or just do what we talked about. But I would probably do multiple calendars and just update your triggers for all these FireFit ones that have these, just 3 or 4 classes. That makes more sense.